Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sia. Welcome to my personal space where I sit here in my lovely corner and I talk about things that matter. Before we get into the video, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. I want to apologize for not being consistent. I do not have excuses because I feel like anything that I'm going to be uttering out of my mouth is going to be an excuse. There's been a lot of things happening, but it's really not an excuse for me to whip up my camera, sit here and I talk like I promised you guys. So for everybody who's been believing in me and I have not shown the commitment, I truly apologize. I am working on it and I do want to show commitment and consistency on my channel. I am working on it. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into today's video. And today we are talking about why our generation is not in love. Why don't we love each other? Why isn't there love in our generation? And I don't completely think that we are a loveless generation, but we are acting like a loveless generation, or rather should I say that we are a lonely generation. There's high rates of singleness and high rates of divorce and broken families, single parenthood in our generation. And these are some of the things that I think are impacting or influencing these decisions, and we're gonna talk about it today. So I think we cannot talk about anything in today's or modern society without talking about social media. And honestly, I don't think social media is the blame, but I think how we are using social media or how we are consuming social media is the problem. Because honestly, social media and the internet at large was made for us to grow. It was meant for, it's something to help us and help us grow and just help us as society, but how we are using it is a completely different matter, and that's up to an individual how we're going to consume it. I feel like when it comes to social media, we are lacking on making deep, real connections, and we are more focused on superficial connections. And most of the time we look at the portrayal of people's lives and we don't really know what goes on behind social media. When it comes to social media, most of the time people only show a narrative of a portrayed lifestyle of perfectionism, of everything is good, and people look at other people's relationships on social media and they set their standards of their relationships upon not real, honestly fake relationships, or not even fake relationships. Some of those relationships are real, but they only show the good side of the relationships, and it makes a lot of people think that there's only good things happening in relationships, or all of these good things that are happening in relationships make happen without work. There's always work put behind everything that you see that is good on social media. Sometimes it's fake, sometimes it isn't, but most of the time when it is not fake, there's a lot of work people put in place to achieve those beautiful relationships, those romantic getaways that people go on to. And people seem to think that everything should happen at the snap of a finger, and people are not facing reality. And I think that is where the danger when it comes to placing our values up on unrealistic social media standards. Like I said, social media isn't horrible, but what we are doing or how we are consuming it is a completely different story to be told altogether. The thing is the fear of vulnerability. I think we fear vulnerability, and I think a lot of times for both men and women, we have this unrealistic standard of wanting to be strong all the time, of wanting to win all the time in life, and not wanting to let our guard down. And I can completely tell you this right now that I'm one of those people. I am one of those people that can love you with all my heart and be vulnerable with you and be completely free, but once I see a little bit of crack or a little bit of I might be disappointed, I completely lift my guard up. And unfortunately these things happened because of the things that we've been through. But if you don't break down those barriers, those walls, and those defense mechanisms, you are never going to be vulnerable, and you're never going to achieve that state of completely loving someone or allowing them to love you, because you always have these guards up. And I feel like because of social media or even society at large, people always make fun. For some reason these days, people make fun of people being in love. It's so weird. It's so weird. Men get made fun of for loving their girlfriends and their wives. Like, it does not make sense to me, and people do that all the time. This is why people want to act mature, want to be alpha males and all of those things, and it's not realistic. In order for people to have deep, meaningful relationships and connections, there need to be a level of vulnerability for both parties, and it seems like both men and women always have their guards up. They want to protect themselves. It's always the one gender against that other. Like, I don't know why or how this gender wars started. I guess maybe they've always been there, but in recent society and modern society, they've gotten so worse that people have this thing that men are just this or women are just that, and it's completely failing us. And I think it's only when it's going to be too late, when we are way far ahead in society, that we're gonna look back and realize how much we've ruined not only our lives but ruined society in general. And I hope it does not get to that point. I hope we get to a point where we can get to a level of accepting and understanding and loving each other, or looking for people that have the same values as you, or at least have an understanding with each other. Hopefully if we can get to that point, there will not always have to be war against each other. It's really not necessary. And also, there's been a change in social dynamics, and whatever social or traditional values you as an individual believe in or come from, there's been in most society a traditional way of doing things, and not necessarily in a way of women staying at home and men going to work and whatever, but there's always been a standard of how we do things. There's always been a sense of a close-knit family. Like, a lot of people that grew up in the 90s or the 80s or whatever, they'll always tell you how it really took a village to raise a child, where they wouldn't be out calling the streets doing funny things when there was an adult around, even if it wasn't your parent, because there was that closeness in society where people felt obligated to correct children. People felt obligated to protect and take care of each other's children, of someone else's children. Whereas these days, there's so much of individualism, and there's nothing wrong with individualism. Everybody is an individual. We are all different, but every individual should be able to fit into a society somehow. Because when you try so hard to be an individual, you run even a risk of isolating yourself from community or from those close-knit families or communities, because you just want to be alone. You just want to be this individual. No man is an island. Nobody can do everything all by themselves. And if you're always in this individualism state, you don't really allow other people into your space. You don't really allow other people or yourself to be part of something or part of a society or community. There's really no sense of belonging. And sometimes when you don't really know where you belong, you honestly sometimes don't even know how to be an individual. It's not that you're an individual, you are just alone. There's a difference. Another thing that I think is failing us as modern society is the shift in dating culture. These days, a lot of dating culture has a lot to do with money and what you can get from the partner, what you can benefit, and not what you guys can put together. And I'm not out here promoting women being Bob the Builder. I'm not about that lifestyle, and I'm not gonna encourage anybody else to be that lifestyle. One of the things that I really dislike when it comes to dating, people that literally just go on dates just so they can go out to eat. It does not make sense to me.
That is ridiculous.
Like, if you want to go out and eat, go out and eat. You don't really have to go on a superficial date just so you can eat out. It really, it just baffles me all the time. Maybe I'm judgmental, I don't know. It's not coming from a judgmental place, but more so as in a puzzled place. Like, I don't understand why waste your time with someone that you don't even like, that you know is not your type, just so you can go out and eat and take pictures for social media. It does not make sense to me. So I feel like those shifts in social in dating cultures have also made it so difficult for people to date. People only date people that are at 10. People only date people that have 6 or 7 figures. And I'm not saying go date a broke man, but honestly, I think sometimes we put such emphasis on things that don't really add value in the person as a human being, or the type of partner that they can be for you or with you. Somebody can buy you mansions and big cars, whatever, but what type of a partner, what type of a father, what type of a partner is this person gonna be when you need somebody to talk to? When you don't feel like talking to a stranger, maybe, or a therapist or your friend, when you want the person that you are most intimate with to talk to, and you're unable to talk to because you don't have a connection in that level, but you only have a connection in the level of doing things for each other, transactional. And I don't think that transactional relationships are something new, but I feel like this day and age we put more emphasis on transactional relationships more than the real connections and intimacy of a relationship. Like, is this man kind? Is this woman kind? Is this the type of woman that you would love to raise your kids? Like, is a big booty really that important when it comes to your future children? It's like, honestly, if like for actually, I can understand money. I can understand money because you can buy the best things for, like, you can get the best education because of money. That's not the only way you can get best education, but it's just one of those examples. Like, you can get the best homes, like one of the most safest, maybe gated communities or whatever, because of money. Those are the things that money can afford you. But other things, really, they don't make sense to me. So I feel like this shifting in dating culture has also made it so difficult for people in our generation to find love, and it's really just setting each other or setting ourselves up for failure. So another thing, I think this is gonna be the last and definitely not least, and I think I wanna articulate this as best as I can be able to. There's a difference between high expectations and having standards, and sometimes even unrealistic expectations. If I can make an example, having standards in a relationship, you can say that I don't want a man or a woman that's out there trifling and not being loyal and all of those things. That is having standards. But expecting someone to be a 10 in everything, those are unrealistic expectations or very high expectations. There's some room to compromise when it comes to expectations, but it's okay for you not to compromise your standards. And I think a lot of times people have confused standards with high expectations. And the reason why I can sit here and proudly say that I'm single because I have standards, it's because I know my standards are bare minimum standards. I don't want no trifling, not loyal, and not kind, and not honest partner. That for me is not high expectations. It may be high expectations in today's society because those bare minimum are so rare, but they do exist. So it's not high expectations. But for me to look for a man who's a 10 in height, I'm not a short girl, so, and I also don't like short guys. With the fear of contradicting myself, let me continue. Like, I'm not a short girl, so I really honestly, I don't like short guys. So for me to look for a handsome man, a tall man, a rich man with a six pack, man with a big house, a big car, and what are the chances of, when I'm not even a 10 in everything that I've just stated myself, what are the chances of me getting a man who's a 10 in everything that I've just stated? So I'm not saying that I'm not deserving or I'm less deserving, but realistically, everything that you are stating in the partner, are you able to match those things? So there's always that thin line that people act like it's standard. It's not standard. It's high and unrealistic expectations. Even for men, they have unrealistic, crazy expectations for women, and we're both doing that. And we just have this, going back to gender wars, we have this thing of trying to push a narrative that a woman, in order for a woman to be a perfect woman, she has to be this way. In order for a man to be a perfect man, they have to be this way. And it's not always the case. If you get to a point where you're able to meet and compromise with a person, certain things, you are winning in life. You're not winning if you are compromising your standards. So there's that difference that people don't seem to be able to distinguish properly. This idealized narrative that people either get from social media or from movies or celebrity couples, I die. Honestly, I hate it when people idolize celebrity couples. Like, it gives me cringe all the time, because people tend to want their partners to be the exact same way that they perceive their celebrity partner or husband that they like, and it's not always the case. So I'm not saying people shouldn't have their favorite celebrity couples, but when you get to a point of idolizing, you are removing yourself, or you are distancing yourself from reality, and there's really no point in idolizing something that you don't even know how it actually really is in reality. So those are the few things that I think are hindering us, or just stopping us from finding real love in today's society. And before I end this video, I'd like to say gender wars are stupid.
Stop acting so stupid!
The people on social media that are pushing videos of gender wars, they only do it for views and the money. I might be sitting here doing a video about how much I hate men or whatever, and my man could be the one operating the camera. So don't believe everything you see on social media. I've already spoken about social media, but to close off this video, I just want to give that advice that stop following people, stop following everything people saying on social media to the T. So I know it's cliche coming from me giving advice in front of the camera, but everything that everybody says on social media, we take it with a grain of salt, and you filter it to what it can best represent in your life. So remember to take everything with a grain of salt. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please do not forget to like, to subscribe, and to share with as many people as you possibly can. This channel can only grow because you guys are helping me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.